Hello again. My name is Alex Messersmith, and I was originally on the pro-environment side of the debate. So I will be responding to Matthew's pro-development debate. He talked mainly about Trump's plans and his actions in repealing several policies that Obama put in place during his administration. And he mentioned Trump's want or goal of creating more economic gains for these energy companies by removing certain regulations that are in place by the EPA. And he also mentioned a lot about how nuclear power should be invested in and how it was a viable source of energy. So I think I'll mainly be covering that topic. I could talk a lot against Trump's policies and his administration, but I'll mainly focus on the nuclear energy point that he made. And I just wanted to say that I appreciated Matthew taking this side on the debate, because he mentioned that he may not necessarily agree with all of the points that he made in his debate, but it's still nice to have a more balanced discussion. And I agree with that. There have been times where I've done debates and I've kind of been forced to take a side that I didn't necessarily agree with, but I do think it's a good thing to understand that other side. And so I think, props to you, Matthew. Thank you for doing that so that we could have something to respond to. Okay, so one of his main points was that ending the EPA regulations would fuel economic growth and put money back into regular people's pockets. And I have an issue with that term regular, because I would suggest middle to lower class. And over the past 2 years of Trump's administration, it's kind of been shown that the lower to middle class isn't getting any benefits right now. It's all the aggressive upper class, and mainly that 1% that's getting all of the tax cuts and are getting more money back into their pockets. And so I think there's a little bit of faulty logic in that argument there, saying that any of these regulations would be a monetary benefit for the regular person, which I'm going to interpret as meaning middle to lower class. He also mentioned the problems that Bangladesh are facing, and we watched 2 short videos of that in class. And he said that with this extra money and this extra economic growth, without those restrictions, that we'll be able to spend more money helping others, like these smaller countries that don't necessarily contribute to the large effects of climate change, but are majorly affected by the results of climate change. And I just think that again, there's a little bit of faulty logic just based on our history. We haven't put any money into the World Fund to help those, and we haven't made any effort to help smaller countries that are getting destroyed by the effects of climate change. So I don't think that that would change anytime soon, especially under Trump's administration. And finally, a lot of his points were about investing in nuclear power and about how that would generally result in monetary gain for the country. But I would rebuke that and say that there are better alternatives that aren't as harmful to the environment that we could use for alternative energy sources. And this is even just by cost, which was, we're talking about economic considerations. So, economically, a nuclear power plant costs over $97 per hour to operate, and that's, not salaries, not insurance, not workforce, not materials. It's just the operation. It takes $97 an hour, whereas solar and wind plants are more than half of, or are less than half of that cost. Excuse me. Solar plants only take $49 per hour, and wind is even less. It's $32 per hour, and those are both great generators of electricity that we could use instead of nuclear energy, posing more of a risk to not only the environment. Mining uranium, building the plants, and transporting all of the nuclear materials and waste releases insane amounts of carbon dioxide, and that's exactly what we're trying to reduce and avoid. Also, I don't even feel like I need to mention the risk of radioactive effects, cancer, birth defects, whereas wind and solar plants don't have any of those negative externalities regarding health. And I just think that in general, if we devote our time and resources into nuclear energy, it's going to wind up costing us more in the long run, and it could even potentially breed more conflict, because we would be seen as a larger nuclear threat to the world. So yeah, that's my response to Matthew. Again, thanks for taking the other side. And yeah, I'll be watching the other responses too. Thanks.